Hello, I'm Lieutenant Chris Taylor with the LaGrange Fire Department, and we're on site at the Holiday Campground on West Point Lake. We have a great show lined up today, and our topics concern wildland fires and water safety. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
My dad is my hero. He goes into places people want to get away from. He makes everyone safe. But the best thing he can do is come home.
The U.S. Fire Administration reminds you to protect yourself and firefighters. Have smoke alarms on every level and near sleeping areas. Test them monthly. Change batteries as instructed. Install sprinklers. Do your part to get out before firefighters have to come in.
Welcome back. Today we have our first guest, Mr. Ray Brundage, Ranger 1, wildland firefighter of the Georgia Forestry Commission. Hello, Ray. How are you today?
Morning, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, and hopefully we'll be able to have you back here again in the near future.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
First of all, I want to get a little background information about you and tell us a little bit about your responsibilities with the Georgia Forestry Commission.
I'm with the Georgia Forestry Commission. We serve the Heard and Troup County area. We're a four-person staff that's located at 5730 New Franklin Road, right there on the Heard County, Troup County line at Potato Creek. And our primary mission is to assist the two counties in wildland firefighting. When the county fire department needs assistance, the fire gets a little bit too big, starts to get into that acreage, we'll go out there with the big white truck and the big yellow bulldozer and go out there and plow the fire out, because you only take a hose and a rake and do just so much with it.
Exactly, and of course we're very familiar with that, and a lot of times when we do have wildland fire incidents, we do have to call you all in because the equipment that we have just only provide only a limited opportunity for us to be able to control the fire.
That's correct, and we are a professionally trained agency, and we fight fire all over the United States, and we help our other forestry departments in other states. And currently right now there's a big fire going down there in southeast Georgia near Fargo. It's grown to over 100,000 acres, and our comrades in other forestry departments, we're all down there battling that blaze going out of the Panoke Swamp. Yeah,
I can understand. I've been, kind of following that on the news, and it seems like, when the year in the summer goes by, you're subject to have a fire somewhere going on, especially in the state of Georgia, and you got to make sure you keep your ears and eyes open so that you can, get down there and provide those resources when they're needed.
That's correct. Citizens in Troup County and LaGrange, they're very alert and active when they do see a wildfire, and they do call them in, and they get a little bit too big, they call upon us because we're a 24-hour-a-day agency, and we'll go out there and help them suppress those wildfires.
Yeah. Now, since we're talking about wildland fires in general, before we get a little bit deeper into that, let's talk about some of the services that you all offer to the citizens of LaGrange and as well as the surrounding areas.
The Georgia Forestry Commission is a real versatile agency. We have foresters, and we have wildland firefighters. It's kind of like cut right down the middle. And the foresters can come out and provide information and about your land and timber, and give you ideas what you can do with it. Right. They can also identify, they also go out and identify beetle infestation and fungus and things that can go wrong with the tree. Right. And provide you with the information so that the landowner can have the healthiest tree that he can have in the state of Georgia. Because the state of Georgia does have the best timber, and they overwatch the health of and management of the forests in Georgia, and that's why we got the best timber probably in the United States. And the other side of the house, the wildland firefighters, we do suppress the fires in the county, but we also do what's called pre-suppression fire breaks, and we do what's called controlled burns in the county. And we assist the citizens in the burning, and we kind of overwatch and monitor the big control burns and the brush pile burns within heard in Troup County.
Okay. And since we're talking about burns in general, could you tell us a little bit about what citizens can do to get a burn permit?
A burn permit is fairly easy to get in the state of Georgia. We have a number you can dial, 1-877-652-2876, which is 1-800-GA-TREES.
Okay.
You can get a burn permit that way. The citizens that are within the city limits, they have to call their local fire department because of the safety factors and the smoke management because of the proximity of the houses. So some parts of the city will let you burn, and then some parts won't, and that's under LaGrange Fire Department's control.
Right.
It's kind of hard for me to bring that big yellow bulldozer within the city limits. You know, I might tear up a water line or something like that.
Right.
So we let you guys do that part.
And it'd be hard to get that bulldozer in somebody's backyard, too.
That's correct. It's a little bit excessive for that. So we let you guys handle that part. So.
Right, exactly. Now, we're talking about burn permits. Do you need a burn permit for burning leaves? Or, what else can, people burn when they get a burn permit?
In the state of Georgia, you do have to have a burn permit for any type of burning. That's leaf piles, brush piles, and what we call acreage burns or prescribed burns. Like again, I said, you can dial the 1-800-GA-TREES. You can go online at www.gatrees.org, and we have a website, and you can get a permit that way also. Also on the website, it tells us about the services that we provide. And it also tells, it has the nurseries on there also. Georgia Forestry does provide trees for the landowners and people in LaGrange during the winter months. The program starts in July, and it's kind of like a first come, first served basis.
Okay.
We have a set number of trees that are in the nursery growing, and we prefer you to order them in July and give us a planting date of the winter with January, February, maybe half of March. What our foresters tell us, the trees go dormant when it gets cold, and that's the best time to plant a tree. Tree goes to sleep, and you kind of dig them up and replant them somewhere else when he wakes up and there's no home.
Right.
It's pretty much the sap's not flowing in anything, and it really doesn't damage the trees. We have a wide selection of pines and oaks, and just go to our website and pick a selection. We have, like I said, a different variety, and you buy them by the bundle. I think the smallest bundle is a bundle of 10.
Okay.
But just go to that website, and you can see what we have as far as pine trees, oak trees, and lespedezas, and it changes from year to year because of what the people want.
Okay.
From year to year.
All right. So. And one other thing that's important to mention right now, the burn ban, which started May 1st. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Oh yes. In the big cities, in the cities that have over 65,000 in population, which LaGrange has graduated to this year, they have what's called a burn ban, and around those counties they're not allowed to burn because of the smoke will affect the air quality. The burn ban goes in effect on the 1st of May and ends on the last day of September. You can begin burning again today, on the 1st of October to the last day of April. Right. And you can you get your burn permit, and you can burn your leaf piles. And if you want to do a prescribed burn, or if you want to burn one of those big, huge brush piles, you give us a call at the office, and we have to manage those because we only can allow a certain amount a day because of the smoke management and because of the staffing of the personnel, because we don't want to have 4 or 5 dozen prescribed burns going on and then they all go out at the same time.
Right.
We've got to kind of manage that. Also, weather and humidity become a big play in the management of controlled burns and brush piles. Also, if you have it too dry and too windy, it's going to get out, and then we'll have a wildfire going across the county.
Okay.
We have had wildfires within LaGrange city limits, as you know.
Right.
And they're not very pleasant. They'll destroy things very, very quickly and very, very fast.
Especially on windy days when the wind is up under it and it just seems like it's just moving so fast, and it's moving faster than you can actually put water on it.
That's correct. And like I said, we're we're professionally trained at the Georgia Forestry Commission, and if you can feel free to call our office at 706-845-4122 if you have any questions about burning or burning for that day. But mostly the permits will let you know if you can burn that day, because if it's a non-burning day, we don't think it's safe, we will turn the permits off.
Okay. And do you have any safety tips that you would like to provide as far as wildland burning?
Sure. Burning's pretty simple. The best thing, like I said, we tell people you have to prepare the area. Prepare your burn site. You probably we'll give up, for instance, a leaf pile. Some of the equipment that you would like to have on hand would be a rake, okay, maybe a bucket of water, or a hose pipe in that general area.
Okay. And
what you want to do is rake your debris back onto the pile. Make sure the grass is low cut. You don't want to have tall grass. Right. Maybe about 10, 15 feet around the pile, and then go ahead and ignite your pile. But like we said, get your burn permit first, okay, and then go ahead and proceed to burn your pile. While the pile's burning, if it does what's called spotting, if it does go out outside the burn area, the biggest thing is don't panic. Okay. You can go over there and take your rake, and what we say is rake it back into the fire.
Okay.
All right, be safe. Make sure you're not in the flames or in flames path or whatever.
Right.
Just rake it, the ambers back in it, and it'll go out. If it doesn't go out, that's when you come in with the hose pipe, and you just go ahead and extinguish with the water. As we say in the fire business, surround and drown.
Exactly.
And go ahead and if that doesn't work, don't be ashamed. Go ahead and call that 911 and say, I need some assistance on the fire, so we don't cause any further damage within the community.
Right. And of course, if someone gets burned in a fire situation or trying to put out a fire, the most important thing they can do at that point is to get medical treatment as soon as possible, especially if it's a severe burn.
That's correct. That's correct. Some of the clothes you might want to wear, you don't want to wear synthetic clothes. A natural fabric like a cotton, maybe jeans, but you really don't want to wear something synthetic, because it'll burn and it'll stick to your skin. So, okay. But like we said, always call for a burn permit, and then just be safe and have those areas on hand. And the big thing, just don't panic. Okay. All right. Well, some good useful information.
Well, Ray, we want to thank you for sharing that useful information on our show today. And like I said earlier, hopefully we'll get you back on the show sometime in the near future.
All right, Chris, and we'd like you to have one of our Georgia Forestry Commission calendars.
Okay.
And any citizen can come by our office, like I said, 5730 New Franklin Road, right there on the county line. Stop by, say hi, and we'll give you a calendar. And if you got anything to talk about, forestry-wise, we'll see if we can help you.
Okay, well, we appreciate it. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk with our second guest. Stay tuned.
I'm Officer Bradfield with DNR, and we just came over to check.
I don't know if that's it right there.
That is the one. Let me look at it real quick. Hold on this for me.
Hopefully it ain't expired.
9/15/11. No, still good. And you got one adult wearable life jacket and a throwable?
What's up? I've been trying to go to school. I'm gonna be a game boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where you going to school or trying?
Trying to go. That's one.
And a throwable life jacket? I see it in your fire extinguisher under. All right, that's good. Don't have any fish in your boat?
No, sir.
All right.
Welcome back. Today, our second guest we have with us is Ranger First Class RFC Jeremy Boland of the Department of Natural Resources Law Enforcement Division. Hello, Jeremy.
Hey,
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to have you on the show today, and we have a very important topic that we're going to talk about concerning water safety. But before we get started, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your responsibilities with the Law Enforcement Division?
Certainly. My name is Ranger First Class Jeremy Bolin. I've been employed with the Department of Natural Resources for approximately 10 years. I hold the position of Conservation Ranger, more commonly known as a game warden.
Okay.
We're responsible for enforcing all state laws, but primarily are tasked with enforcing the laws dealing with hunting, fishing, boating, and environmental law.
Okay, all right, good deal. So you have a big responsibility.
Absolutely.
And cover a large area in the process. Okay. Now, one thing that I want to talk about, there's something significant that's happening, and I want you to kind of touch on it. The Department of Natural Resources Law Enforcement is having like a 100-year anniversary type deal. You want to elaborate on that?
Correct. That's our centennial this year, actually. The Department of Natural Resources before that was known as the Georgia Game and Fish Commission. We started in August of 1911. We're the oldest state law enforcement agency in the state of Georgia. Before 1911, counties employed game wardens on their own, but it wasn't until 1911 that the state picked up and formed the Georgia Game and Fish Commission, which is now commonly known as the Department of Natural Resources. So that's pretty exciting.
Good deal. And 100 years is a long time.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, talk about water safety and specifically boating. So let's talk about what are the types of equipment and documents boaters need in order to be legal.
All boats operated on waters of the state must be equipped with a PFD or a life jacket on board for each occupant on board that vessel.
Okay.
They're also going to need, if it's over 16 feet in length, they need a Type 4 throwable device, which is the square seat cushion or the round ring buoys. Those aren't wearable PFD devices. Those are also requirements. And those are used to throw to somebody in case of an emergency.
Right.
All boats equipped with any kind of compartments that can trap gas, vapors, or fumes must have a fire extinguisher on board.
Okay.
As long as registration. All boats being operated with any kind of mechanical horsepower have to have registration on board.
Okay.
As well as any boat that's being operated during hours of darkness or low visibility must be equipped with running lights, the red and green bow light or the white stern light.
Okay. All right. Now, I want to ask this question. What is the peak time of day that you mostly have boaters out on the water?
Most of the boating activities usually after lunch till around supper time.
Okay.
Is most of the peak activity.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Now, what are some of the types of boating violations do you most encounter?
A lot of times we see operating a vessel within 100 foot of an object or shore. Basically, the law says if it's an improved shoreline or any kind of dock, bridge, person in the water, any residential shoreline or anything like that, boats must stay at least 100 feet away from those items unless they come down to idle speed. So that's a big one that we enforced. Also, we see a lot of times where people operate vessels or boats without fire extinguishers and also without life jackets on board, which is again is a major safety violation. As well as during the nighttime hours, we see a lot of boats with either without any lights at all or improper lights.
Okay.
One of the bulbs may be blown. It's always a good idea to check those things before you take them out on the water to make sure that they're functional.
Right. Now, on the water itself, if you have an incident, what are some other resources do y'all normally come in depending on the type of incident that you might have to respond to?
We respond to all boating accidents, all reportable boating accidents, drownings, as well as stranded boaters in some instances. A lot of times if it's just a stranded boater, we can get somebody or a friend of theirs to tow those vessels, but a lot of times we do get notified of those situations.
Okay.
Anytime somebody does have a situation they need to get in touch with us about, they can certainly contact the local sheriff's office in the county that they're in, and they have our numbers to respond and to get in touch with us, or they can also call our tip line, which is 1-800-241-4113, and talk to the operator in Atlanta, and they can get a ranger that's on the lake to respond.
Okay. Now, the penalties for someone caught operating a boat under the influence of alcohol, and I'm quite sure that is something that y'all might run into on a regular basis, but I'm quite sure there are some severe consequences that go with that. So can you elaborate on that?
There is. The law basically differs from the highway in the sense that it's not illegal to have alcohol on board the boat, nor is there's not any kind of open container law.
Okay.
However, the operator can't be to the degree that it's less safe for him to operate that vessel. It can't be under the influence of any kind of alcohol or drugs. The penalties for getting caught for a BUI, boating under the influence, you get your boating privileges suspended, as well as a trip to the jail. It's a misdemeanor offense that you do have to post a bond on.
Right, and of course, you know, what people need to understand about being out on the waters, especially lakes and things of that nature, you got to take all the necessary safety precautions, because, you know, if you're out boating, let's say after dark or something like that, you know, you may have a situation occur, and there may not be anyone in close proximity to you to help you. So you need to take all the necessary precautions. Now, let me ask you this. What would you say anyone who's out boating, especially, you know, after hours, things of that nature, some things that they might need to carry along with them in the event that they do run into a situation? And I know cell phone is probably going to be very important, but then, of course, you run into a situation where if you don't have the proper signal strength or something like that,
Right.
that could be a deterrent. So what are some other things?
Flashlights are always a good thing to keep on board. Flares, things like that. Not necessarily a requirement on some of our waters. However, you know, it will allow for other people to see you and get a visible signal and help in your assistance. Those are some of the main things. It's always a great idea to let somebody know where you're going to be, what boat ramp you put in, what time you planning on being home, because a lot of times we get calls where, you know, a family member just says they're on West Point Lake, don't know what boat ramp they put in, and as you know, it's a large lake to try to look for somebody when we don't know where to start.
Right. Let's talk about the weather. And I've heard on a number of occasions where you know, boats have been stranded or something happened and a storm comes up. What would you advise people, you know, as far as monitoring the weather during the day?
Always check the weather before heading out to the lake that day. They do make weather radios that you can put in your boat, purchase and put in your boat, and scan the weather radio. Like I said, always know what the weather's going to do, but you know, we're in Georgia, so the weather does change from time to time. Always
right.
pack for some rain gear.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a good idea to get off the lake if possible, if you know that those storms are coming. The lake can turn pretty rough in a hurry, and if you're stranded out there, it can lead to a bad situation.
Right, and of course, during the summer months, we always have the threat of thunderstorms at any given time of day, whether, you know, it's forecast for thunderstorms to occur or if you get a pop-up storm, but you always need to kind of, you know, look outside and see what's going on, and like you said, monitor those weather radios because they can be very helpful. One of the things that I do want to ask from a safety standpoint, jet skiers, and things of that nature. Can you talk about some of the safety tips that they need to be mindful of when they're out, you know, skiing and using jet skis?
It's always a good idea to keep a sharp lookout for all your surroundings. Unlike the highway, we don't have, you know, lanes of traffic out there. However, there's a buoy system in place, and there's something called rules of the road. All right, there's a set standard that boats should follow. It's always a good idea to take a boat and safety course. It's not a requirement once you turn 16 in Georgia. However, it is a good idea to be familiar with the boating laws and the lanes of traffic and such as that. But just always keep a good lookout around you, around your surroundings, because a boat can come up, you know, maybe to your blind side in a hurry. And it's always a good idea to keep a sharp lookout, have a mirror on board, you know.
Okay. Flotation devices, always supposed to be worn at any time you're out on the water, correct?
You have to have one on board for each person that's going to be on board that vessel. Children under the age of 10 have to have them on at all times.
Okay.
As far as adults, there's just a few situations. If the water's designated as hazardous areas, then the life jacket must be worn by adults as well.
And it must be an approved life jacket. So you talk about that.
Approved Coast Guard type life jacket, readily accessible. They don't need to be under a lock and key. You know, they need to be out. And even though you may not have to wear it, they do need to be out where you can get to them in an emergency.
Okay. Now, I don't own a boat or anything like that, but and I've always been curious about this, about speeds. Is there a certain speed limit that you're supposed to abide by when you're out boating?
There's not a certain speed per se. However, you are responsible for your wake, and you can't operate into the point that it's less safe for other boat traffic. Like I said, you're responsible for the wake that comes out from your boat, and if it's causing other boats to get beat into a dock and things like that, then it could be too fast for conditions. There are buoys in place around these marinas and such as that are idle speed or no wake buoys, and those must be followed at all times.
Okay. All right. Now, of course, we talked about the water safety, and we've talked about the laws and regulations concerning boating and things of that nature. Now, boating docks, if there's a particular dock or where they can go and get information concerning boating tips or anything of that nature, where can they get that information from?
The state or Department of Natural Resources produces a handbook with all our boating laws and responsibilities in it, and those are available either at any DNR law enforcement office or also any Corps of Engineer office, like the one here on Highway 29. You can go to that office. It's also an office that teaches boating safety class, so you can go by there and check out the dates available for the next upcoming boating safety class, as well as pick up the handbook with all our boating laws in it.
Okay, good deal. Anything else you would like to add before we close?
We're just looking for a safe summer out there on the water. We want everybody to enjoy themselves, have a good time. If you're going to have alcohol on the boat, let's keep a safe and sober operator behind the wheel. Like I said, we want everybody to have a good time.
Right.
We don't like working boating accidents or having to search for drownings or missing people as well. So
Right.
we just want everybody to enjoy themselves, but just be safe.
All right, good deal. Can't say it. I couldn't have said it better myself. All right. I want to thank you again for being on the show, and we'd like to thank both our guests for being on the show today, and we also like to thank you for watching another segment of Smoke Signals. Until next time, take care and have a safe summer.
You can fish all of West Point Lake with a Georgia resident license. 95% of the 26,000 acre lake is in Georgia, but you can fish the entire lake with a Georgia license. With your Alabama license, you can fish up to the 109 bridge where it crosses the river, which is roughly 50% of the lake. With an Alabama resident license. Above the 109 bridge, Alabama residents or non-residents have to have, or Alabama residents rather, have to have a Georgia license.